Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday morning, and you know what that means.
Crafty Kids!
Today, we're making paper hot air balloons in honor of National Balloon Ascension Day,
Oh my gosh.
which is today.
No way!
So, I'm going to teach you how to make one of your very own hot air balloon crafts. So this one isn't necessarily powered by hot air, but it is a lot of fun. It looks a lot like the hot air balloons that you see every day.
That is so cool.
Just flying around. You can use it as a decoration or just a fun toy. I just think they're neat.
They are.
To get started, you're going to need some cardstock or construction paper. I've decided to use cardstock. Either one will work. You're going to need string, glue, scissors, and a shell from an egg carton. So I've taken all of that off the top so that way you just get a nice little basket. You can even color this or paint it if you want. So that's always fun for some extra decoration.
Yeah.
But to get started, I've chosen 4 different colors of cardstock. You need at least 3 different pieces. I would recommend going to 4 or 5 if you can. So I'm gonna go with 4 today. And the first thing you do is cut out a balloon shape.
Oh.
So I'm gonna stack these all together so you can cut them all out at the same time.
Fancy.
And the same shape.
Wow.
Because you want them to be roughly the same size. Otherwise, your balloon will look a little lopsided. I mean, it's not the end of the world if it does, but let's see. We've all had days like that, right?
We have.
Just feel a little off, you know? But that's okay.
Yep.
So I'm gonna cut these out. It'll look like you're making a bunch of light bulbs or something.
Ah.
So
I see.
and again, if it's not like perfectly round, that's okay.
Okay.
Absolutely okay.
Good.
We're not looking for perfection, we're just looking for fun.
Yes.
So now that I have my 4 pieces out, see them all in a row right here. All
Very
the pretty
nice.
colors.
So many pretty colors.
So now what you do is you take each one and you fold it in half.
Oh.
And you're gonna fold it in half basically lengthwise, so kind of hot dog style, if that's your preferred way to think of it.
Yes. Absolutely.
You want to definitely make sure the bit at the bottom is folded in half, because
I
that's going to be
see.
very important.
Yeah.
And so it'll fold a lot like this.
Cool.
And then you just do the same thing for the rest of your pieces.
Awesome.
All right, and there we go. So that's our last piece for now.
Awesome.
So the next part is we need to both connect these together, but we also need some string.
Oh.
So first, I'm gonna take a long piece of string because that's what we're gonna hold it by,
I see.
or how we'll hang it up, or whatever else you decide to do with it.
Cool.
And then the next bit is you'll need 4 additional pieces. These are gonna be much smaller, and you're gonna wanna make sure they're roughly the same size. So cut out the first one. And you don't want to make them too small because you do need a little bit of room to glue them in.
I see.
So basically, whatever you end up, it's gonna be covered on both sides by paper or the egg carton.
Yeah.
And then just make sure when you cut out the other pieces, they're about the same length. You can use the length that you cut out to measure against.
Oh, perfect.
So that makes it a little easier. Or if you've got, a ruler or something like that, then you can absolutely use that.
Yeah.
And there we go. So here's my 4 smaller lengths.
Awesome.
And my 1 big one. So now we need to get started with gluing. I'm going to use some standard school glue here. You can use glue dots or anything else. With glue dots, you're going to want to use a lot of them if you do go that route, because otherwise it's not going to stick together very well. This is a fairly big project.
Right.
But then again, as always, the school glue takes a little longer to dry. So it's kind of whatever you feel more comfortable with.
Right.
Okay, so to get started, we're gonna pick 2 pieces. So I've just chosen these 2 at random.
Nice.
And I'm gonna glue them together, but I'm also gonna glue in the big piece right here.
I see.
And I'm gonna glue in one of the little pieces at the bottom.
Very
so
nice.
It'll dangle off.
I see.
And the big piece will dangle off the top part.
I see.
So this will get a little tricky. You might need an extra pair of hands to help you if you've got, you know, a friend, brother, sister, an adult in your household.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little hard to keep it all together, but we'll go ahead and start by gluing one side here.
Mm-hmm.
And the order doesn't matter. You can glue them in any order you think looks good.
Cool.
If you want red next to pink or blue or green, it's all good.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm gonna lay the big one on the top here and the small one on the bottom here. And then I'm gonna make sure that these line up and lay that on top.
Awesome.
And so now you're gonna wanna hold them down, and it's gonna be a minute before they dry completely. But you at least wanna hold it down long enough that it gets tacky.
Yeah.
And then they stick together.
Cool.
The cool part is for the future ones, we only have to put the one on the bottom. So it'll get a little easier after this one.
Absolutely.
So there's the first part. And so for each subsequent part, we're gonna take another side and another one of our smaller pieces and glue that on the bottom and then glue the rest on top.
Cool.
So I'm going to connect this next part to the red part. And again, you kind of need to use a decent amount of glue, especially since you've got the extra bits that you're gluing in.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then you want to make sure that the string ends up going to about the same length as the one on the other side. So that way they all stay about uniform.
Okay.
It's not going to be 100% perfect, but that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as you get it pretty close. Then take this and glue it like so.
Oh, and I see what you were talking about, how you could do as few as 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you would just glue those other 2 sides together.
Exactly. Or if you do 5, you can glue an extra bit in if you want more colors.
Definitely. That's really cool.
Yeah. Another way you could do this too is if you have, say, like a needle or something like that that's big enough, you could maybe poke a hole and then tie the string in.
Oh,
It's just, it's a little harder to do that, and you definitely want to make sure you're doing that with an adult. And now this one's going to be a little harder because we're going to have to basically glue it to both sides at once and also glue the last 2 of our smaller strings on.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and apply our glue to both sides here. And over on this side too. Okay. And then I want to make sure that they don't get glued together. Just because I have an extra piece that I definitely want to go on. I want the green piece to be there too.
Yes.
Okay. And this just tucks right in between. So we're going to go ahead and set this down to dry. And in a minute, we'll get started on the basket. Okay, so now that we have our dry balloon, it is time to attach it to our basket. So that way when you're flying it around, you can have little people in there.
Yay!
Wouldn't that be fun?
It would be fun.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some glue dots in this case. You can still use the school glue, but it is a little trickier.
Yeah.
So if you have access to glue dots, that makes it a lot easier.
Cool.
So I'm just going to take one of these, put it in the corner, And I recommend doing this 2 at a time. Trying to balance all 4 at once can be pretty tricky. So, but if you want to go for it, you know, absolutely give it a shot.
Yeah.
So there we go. So there's 2. So now I pick one side of the balloon. And attach that to the glue dots. So there is one side.
Awesome.
Now for the other one.
Nice.
Go ahead and lay it like that, so that way it's easier for me to not get them all tangled up. And hey, we've got exactly 2 glue dots left.
Perfect.
That's exactly what I need.
It's like the glue dots knew.
They did know. I told them.
The
I told them ahead of time.
glue dots know.
The glue dots always know. May use the scissors just to poke them in there.
Yeah.
But just be careful if you're doing it this way, though they don't need to be sharp scissors. Like kid scissors can do this just fine.
Yeah. Or like a toothpick.
Yeah, toothpick, a pencil even. There's all sorts of ways. There we go.
Yay!
Huzzah!
It looks so good!
And so now our balloon's ready to go on ahead and go on a flight.
Yes!
And so yeah, you can hang it up in your room.
Very
you can
cool.
play around with it. Just go woo. You know, I mean, it could be maybe a vehicle for your figures.
Yes!
Or,
like Polly Pockets.
ooh, that would be great.
Yes.
Yeah, those were really popular when I was a kid. Do they still make those?
They do.
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
know. I love Polly Pockets.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could have your Polly Pocket flying around in here, off to new adventures,
Yes.
or maybe even some Legos, something like that.
Oh,
That could be
yes.
fun.
Legos too.
So yeah, we're gonna land the balloon though. And so that's how you do it.
Cool.
But next week we have a very exciting project for all of you. We're gonna be making cardboard roll Winnie the Pooh dolls in honor of Winnie the Pooh Day. That's coming up so soon now.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, I love Winnie the Pooh. It's a
Yeah.
great series. So for this project, you're gonna need construction paper, scissors, a cardboard roll, either toilet paper or paper towels, or even if you got it from another source, that's fine. Glue, tape, optionally paint and a paintbrush, markers, and I believe it's Sharon is gonna be making this one. And we all know what Sharon really likes to add in. Googly eyes.
Yeah!
Woo!
Woohoo!
So join us next week for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your week, and happy crafting. Bye-bye. Hot air balloons! If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube.
And like and share on Facebook.
Help us share our crafts with as many kids as we can.
Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.